Welcome to the British Esports 2022-2023 season. I am Waxon and I have the honor of being your host today. And what a day we had of ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, with a new title making waves into the British Esports scene. And I'm talking about nothing else than Overwatch 2. They'll have a couple of games that are going to be pretty intriguing, but let's not waste any more time and let's welcome to the stream the fabulous and talented duo of Susie and Servitude.
Hi everyone.
Hey guys.
It's so good to have both of you back, and although we are in an old guard right here, right now today, the game that we are about to see is something completely, well, not completely different, but somewhat different to the Overwatch we were used to over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, some of our haters might say it's exactly the same game, but someone who played beta and has been playing a little bit over the last week, it's fresh, it's different. I'm enjoying the game again after it kind of stagnating for the last year or so. How about you, Susie?
Yeah, it is very different, from a lot of people are like, oh, same game, but if you've been playing Overwatch 1 like for all the years you've been through the whole thing, it is a different game. We've got 5v5, we've got a new map type, we've got characters who've been completely changed. It's a new game, whether you like it or not.
New game, but some very familiar names, especially for the first series of the day. Susie, we have the GCS Owls and the Landrilo Dragons. And I'm going to start with you, Susie, this time by asking you what you just mentioned. This time, it's a different game mode. It's 5 versus 5. How do you think these two teams can adapt to such a change, especially considering, you might have played in beta, but the game has been out so recently for everybody else?
Yeah, they've only had a week to prep. It's not a long time. They might have played the beta, but that was also a completely different game. All the nerfs and buffs, totally nearly got that the wrong way around, have been applied to different characters based on what happened in Overwatch League. There are new maps and everything, and it is a completely different game from the beta. They've had 1 week to try, and even now things are still changing. They might have got used to Bastion and Torbjorn, but now they're banned too, so they can't play them anymore at the moment. So I think these two teams are really adaptable, though. We've got the Owls, who obviously, last year's finalists for the Division 1 top-tier team, and the Landrilo Dragons, we've casted them before. I know they're adaptable. I know they're a good team. And I think these two teams are going to be perfectly fine with this. I think they've done the work, they've done the hard graft, they've done the research. They'll know what's good.
Speaking of adaptability, Servitude, I must ask you, there's so many changes, and Susie just mentioned a couple of them, but new game, but more importantly, new teammates. Every season here at British Esports, we can look at different teams and expect them to make changes, player changes, and obviously we at least have a -1 for both of these teams, but maybe some students might have moved on with their lives and they're no longer in school, so unable to compete, and they might get some new fresh blood competing for these very well-known rosters.
Yeah, I mean, like Susie said, the game only came out last week, and even if they did get to play the beta, the new academic year for students that have joined this year have only been there for maybe even just a week or two, so they're very fresh to the campus. They might be very fresh to the team. I think that, like Susie have said, with the two teams that are playing in the first match today, GCS Owls have been a consistent top playing team across multiple games, not just Overwatch as well. So they've got that embedded in their kind of ethos and how they play and how they have grown their team to be so successful, not just in Overwatch but across the other games. Like Susie said as well, and we've casted Landrilo before as well, who have probably had a bit of a mixed season last year, but a new game, new players, like you've said. I'm really excited about this because it's going to be not just the first time we're playing Overwatch 2 on British Esports, but probably the first time that a lot of these people are going to be playing a properly competitive game at all in Overwatch 2.
It's safe to say, and I think we can all agree, that in theory, if this was Overwatch a couple months ago, Overwatch 1, let's call it, GCS Owls would be the favorites. And maybe with that in mind, we can consider them being the favorites going into this one, but there's no better time to pull an upset than earlier in the season with a new, completely different game. My question for you, Susie, is do you think that the Landrilo Dragons can pull an upset today on the GCS Owls?
I definitely think they've got what it takes. We don't know what's going to happen. Like, I remember GCFL's prior, in the grand final, they were very proud of their tank diff. But that was a 2-tank meta. Are you still that tank diff with only 1 tank? There is no MTD anymore, it's just TD now. Just the tank diff. Is it still there with 1 tank? Or have you had enough time to practice what sports go with what map, what DPS go on what map? It's just such a mess. Even I don't know. I've been playing like every day since it came out, and I'm sure Server's the same. We are going to be like a little bit confused as well as to all the new maps and everything. But definitely, I think the Dragons could do it. I think there's definitely a possibility if they've had more practice, more graft than the Owls. But I think a lot of the teams only got put together last week as well. So who's had the time to gel? Who's had the time to scrim? It's anyone's game, really.
I like that Susie touched a bit on the comps and obviously that huge change of taking out one of the tanks essentially. But Serve, beyond the comps, you mentioned earlier in the broadcast the difference in the changes and the novelty of the map pool.
Yeah, I mean, there's some brand new maps that have joined. Obviously, we've got a new game mode altogether, the push map, and it's much better than 2CP. I know that some people loved it, but it just went on forever sometimes. And even if you had to put up a strong defense, then you'd have to go through another round, potentially 6 or 8 minutes long, depending on how quick the attackers capped point B. So push is a little bit more different. It's a little bit to and fro. It's definitely much more offensive on both sides. It's a little bit of a mix between escort and capture, like what single point capture, like Ilios. But yeah, the new maps are add a whole new range of kind of different verticality and different choke points. Whereas the old maps as well, because of the comp changes and because of the single tank, just makes it a little bit more different than your kind of classic maps that you had before, such as, for example, on Gibraltar, we'd go usually more dive, or you could play a more defensive double tank, double shield on defense. You don't have that anymore. Yes, you can play a single tank shield if you want to play a more static defensive team, but on offense, especially when Kiriko does come out, or it gets put into their map pool from next week or after the half term, I think that's going to open up a whole new range of different types of comps that we won't even see yet today.
Before I'm gonna put you on the spot, so I'll give you one more question, I suppose, to think about. What players do you think are going to be the most important to watch for? And maybe not even the players themselves, because we might be unfamiliar with them, but the position they play. It's not often that we here at British Esports have the opportunity of, starting a new season with a game so recently released. So, Servitude and Susie, I'm going to give you each 15, 20 seconds. If you could look into the camera and talk at home to the person that is never played Overwatch, what is different about Overwatch 2 and what can they do to change something new completely?
Are you going first? Should I go first?
Oh, you can go first. Yeah.
What's new to Overwatch? If they're completely new to Overwatch, okay, so it's 5v5. There's a mix of tank, DPS, and healers. There's one tank now in Overwatch 2, which is the difference to Overwatch 1. They're very beefy, very frontliney. Then there's DPS, and there's different types of DPS, whether you've got something more flanky or more assassinatey or more like long range. And then you've got your supports, which try and heal and keep up the rest of your team to be able to push, be able to capture, be able to take space, and be able to defend the attacking team from capturing points or pushing payloads or pushing escorts. Okay. How about you, Susie?
Cat in the way. Yeah, so if you're brand new to Overwatch, like Servitude said, there's 3 different types of roles. You've got your big tank who takes the main push of it, usually going to be the leader, leading the charge, showing everyone where to go. You've got your DPS characters, a lot less HP. They are likely to get one-shotted in the head by a Widowmaker. Hi. The one getting one-shotted, not the one doing the one-shot. But they are going to do the majority of the damage, getting the kills in, and your support characters, taking care of everyone, keeping everyone alive, but doing more than just healing. Remember, you're a support, not a healer. And they have a lot of them have a very varied toolbox of different things that they can do to not only heal, but to just keep the ball rolling and get the kills going. And every different role is really important in this game. You can't take one out. I mean, they've tried a few times. In Overwatch 1, they did try remember in the experimental we had that one tank, 3 DPS and 2 healers or something. It was a bit weird, but they've tried it before and they've found out this is the right way to go with it. So this is the team structure that we have now, and we have to love it. Enjoy.
Well, we are now only minutes away, and we have been informed that the map that we will be having is New Queen Street. And now, on to the second question. Susie, what do you think the position, which player playing what position do you think we will have to look out for on this map?
Well, the ones I'll be looking out for is going to be the tank player. It is going to be interesting to see how these, tank players adapt. You only had a week of being a solo tank. We had the classic combo like the Ryan Zarya, or the Ryan's going to be running in and go, oh, where's my bubble? Oh, I don't have it anymore. Are we going to be diving in with monkeys, expecting a diva to come backing you up with a defense matrix? So I think that is going to be the one to watch. And I think it will be a tank diff. He who has the best tank may be the winner today.
It could feel lonely at the top as a tank, but Servitude, do you agree with Susie?
I think for people who have played Overwatch 1, Overwatch 2, the changes to the tank, I feel like they have a bigger... Well, every player on the team now has to kind of pick up the slack that player lost on each team has left. So each player is contributing 20% more to your overall team impact. But as a tank, because there's only one of you now, and you've been beefed up a bit, whether it's extra health or extra shields, or a little bit extra damage in some cases, the tank is kind of your mainstay. So if you can keep the tank up, then you're going to be able to be keeping the pressure up, taking the space, and pushing the payload across. So I guess we'll see if this is going to be an early tank diff or not.
Well, I am so pumped to see what this upcoming game has in store for us, but so can you at home. You can tell us right now in the prediction in the chat, who do you think is going to be the winner of the first Overwatch 2 game on the British Esports Twitch channel? We have a new season, we have a new game, and we have 2 fabulous teams to take us underway. The game between Landrillo Dragons and the GCS Owls is now underway. Susie, Servitude.
Thank you, Waxon. All right, we are finally on the way to New Queen Street, based in Toronto. Servitude, how much experience do you have with this map?
A little bit. So it's probably the most experienced push map that I've had. You can see that it kind of snakes its way around this long kind of S kind of shape, where one of the bases is just around the corner to your left on your screen now. You kind of come down, and then it loops back round, kind of does a 180, and then it does it again on the other end. So you've got this kind of long middle horizontal high ground where you can jump through and take some space and be able to put some pressure. You've obviously got long ranges at the end of those S kind of bends, and then through those buildings you have the opportunity for lots of different types of flanks. So lots of different types of comps, and I'm interested to see that they're both running the Zarya coming out, who I'm very happy about, because Zarya is my favourite tank, both in Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2.
Yeah, Zarya really strong right now. She now has 2 bubbles that she can use at the same time, pretty much, on herself or on her teammates. And we're pretty much running in the same sort of rush comp here with the Lucio on either side. Early shots coming out from Landrillo, trying to burn them down. Big Zarya charges coming out straight away on either side, and nobody. It looks like we've just taken the point a little on Landrillo Dragons. There's been no death yet that I can see, though. I think we're just having a big roll on the point, a little bit of Zarya on Zarya action going on there. Big May wall, keeping everyone back, and that is a beautiful, beautiful May wall that manages to steer this point, perhaps. Oh, that is going to be it. It was that May wall that makes all the difference there, and that is a character that we don't have on the Dragons, but we do have on the Owls. Can it be a May dip? People did used to say she was another tank.
Yeah, the Landrillo Anna, who was playing a little bit further back, as you would typically usually play as an Anna, was just caught out there. One of your main sources of healing, other than the Lucio, and if you're blocked off from that, your main healer is going to be healing for the next 5-6 seconds. The Maywall does have less health than it does have in Overwatch 1, but it does mean that your team has to turn around and still destroy it so that it doesn't interrupt so long. And that was a problem that we had there before we go into this next fight.
Oh, big sleeper, another Maywall trying to block off the Reaper, and it gets got. The Reaper is down, and Now, this is the thing about May now. With her regular primary fire, she does not freeze people anymore. But it still does enough damage to sort of, like, annoy them a lot. Oh, nice shot onto Golden there from Rap, keeping him down. But I think the Owls do have the upper hand here, and we are going to see another team fight win in their favour as they come up to the final checkpoint on their side. Only one more push to the final end of it.
Yeah, a couple of good late stagger kills as well. The Todd is just going back to try and get Cammy back as quick as possible. Keep in mind that Landrilla Dragons do have the spawn advantage here. Their spawn is just past that car where you can see the Zarias on the point. That's where they have to get to. And an early pick onto a motor means that, again, that front line is gone. So they need to be pulling out something now with the 3 people down.
Yeah, I think this is going to go all the way to the spawn with this final push. Oh, Landrilla too there, just getting pushed into a corner. Unfortunately, couldn't escape. That Sojourn field is so powerful. If you don't get out of it, you must run. Oh, then we've got a little bit of action going on the Ana there. I don't think they got away. Oh, they did get away. They haven't got away there, which is very lucky because that's going to reduce the amount of stagger we have before the next team fight. This is going to be the final team fight. If they cannot hold this one, then this is going to be a very, very quick end of game here. Big Maywall keeping that Sojourn ultimate from destroying the entire team. But she finds another way around. Sojourn with the ability to take that high ground with her super jump is very handy. We do have a beat that could be used. Oh, we're not going to need it though. What a lovely clean team fight from the Owls and just keeping everyone in spawn with that Lucio boost. Only a tiny bit left to go. Are they going to spawn fast enough to come out here?
Don't think so. I mean, that was, like you said, the left click of May doesn't freeze anymore, but the Blizzard does. And that just meant that, again, Viana was stuck out of healing. And another early pick for Mythical Mini. But May is just having such a big impact in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we've got pretty much Zarya Grav online here. Landrilla Dragons do have a few ultimates to come on, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. I think it's going to be too little too late. Keeping him off the point again with that Maywall. Brilliant. And that is probably the quickest I've ever seen a push map completed since this game has come out. Wonderful work there from the Owls.
That's going to be a benchmark, definitely, for the future games and future matches that we have coming up in the next few weeks. Golden was doing a lot of work in Sojourn, but I can't take it away from the May impact that we were having on the fights.
Yeah, this is a beautiful Sojourn work there. But yeah, Mythical Mini with those May walls, really well trained in them. Obviously, May is a character from Overwatch 1, and the May walls were really exciting then and very, advantageous, but used to perfection there. I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you don't freeze anymore with the left click, so some people say they might have taken a bit of a functionality about, but the Overwatch 2 kind of the main aim for Overwatch 2 was to try and remove some of those annoying CCs like Shield Bash and Cassidy Stun. So they've reworked some of those, but as you can see, May's left click, the freeze, or the slow now, still does a hell of a lot of damage, and if you're landing some right clicks in a mix of those, where you saw just on that final push that they got a couple of kills before they could even kind of recoup and get back out for a solid defense. So, but well played by GCSLs as a whole.
Yeah, I can tell that they've had some good time practicing together, and I bet the communications there are, with the Owls as well. If that Maywall goes up, you want your team to focus the person who's stuck on it, and you only get that when you tell them, "Hey, I've got a guy stuck here. Quickly, come get him." And my team usually just go running off into the distance when that happens, or chasing after a tank who they can't kill. But yeah, well done from the Owls there. That was really clean. And that is a very high standard set for our very first game of Overwatch 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said it before, GCSLs, whether they've got however many of their old roster that they've still got playing, they're going to be a tough team to play, and Dragons need to just kind of take a moment and say, this is going to be one of the probably strongest teams in the league. We need to understand that and see what we can learn so we can improve that as we go into the second round. And we do know that the Dragons have picked Scrim's Row, so King's Row, the new and updated and beautiful, probably favourite map for many. Do you think we're going to see any changes in the comp? Because we saw the Zarya there, but narrow corridors, could see some Rhine.
I mean, that is the agreement, isn't it, on King's Row? You must go Reinhardt. I had a game of that the other day. unfortunately, I was tank, and I picked Reinhardt. Be he good or bad right now, that is the agreement. But, don't let me ruin your game, guys. Do what you need to do. But Zarya's still very strong on this map. We could see anything. But this is a map that they'll be familiar with, even if, they have only been playing, since this game came out. Players at Overwatch 1 will be very familiar with this map. I see it's pretty much everybody's favourite. So they should have a trick or two about where to stand. There should be a little bit more versed in it. We might see a little bit more back and forth on this one, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, Ryan's had a few changes. So for anyone who has played Overwatch 1, all the tanks have kind of been beefed up a little bit because there's just one. So he's got a little bit more health. The shield is slightly more, but it's not really that most. The biggest change is that he's got 2 fire strikes now, which do 90 instead of 100 damage. And then his shield, his rocket charge, is it rocket charge? Can now be manoeuvred a little bit easier, so you can turn a little bit quicker, but also you can cancel it as well. So there's only really 1 or 2 points on the map that you can really utilise that by charging someone and stopping right at the edge of a cliff. Which would be towards point C, but it's definitely made him a little bit more fun because anyone who's played main tank, anyone who's played Ryan, has almost definitely gone to pin somebody and missed, and then ended up off the map.
Yeah, daily occurrence. So just charge into walls as they do. I know a lot of Reinhardt players who really need to unbind that charge button. Not mentioning any names. Okay, so here we go. The new
me? What are you talking about? You're not criticising me.
No, you're a wonderful Reinhardt servant. Lots of big main tank energy there. Okay. So here we are at the beautiful new King's Row. We've got a new little look of it. It's like a little bit dusky here rather than the nighttime one that we had on Overwatch 1. So it's good to see a little bit of recolouring. I'm so used to it now though, it just kind of looks normal to me. Totally forgot what it used to look like. Orisa?
Yeah, this is...
Ooh.
Yeah, this is a hybrid map. So whereas before you had a robot that you kind of pushed back and forth, and as long as you stayed close to it, then you would take over it, and then you'd be able to push it backwards and forwards. The hybrid map is a different type of map where you have a point, which is just where the defending team is, which is GCSLs. So they defend that point. Once you've capped it, the payload unlocks through those doors just behind that blue square. And then it's very similar in that it's just one team pushing it towards the end through 2 more checkpoints.
Yeah, and we've got...
Yeah, I'm excited to see Orisa.
Got Raph trying to have a little cheeky pick from the top window there. Now, we've got Mythical Mini there on the May again. Now, that was a good tactic back in the old days to try and catch somebody off guard when they come through the choke. I don't know if we're going to try and get that with the May wall again. Oh, the May wall went up, but I didn't quite see where it went. I think it was more of a defensive one than anything else. But you could hear that Trojan railgun just ramping up there. Every time you take some damage, it just takes itself stronger and stronger until eventually you get that 100% just to take one big shot like Golden just did. Straight onto the Baptiste. Oh, and coming straight onto the May there. It looks like we're going to have a little reset there for Landrillo as, Fox just pushes in with that Orisa, chasing down that Javelin. Now, Orisa has had a lot of changes as well. Complete rework.
Yeah, I'm a big Orisa fan. I played her a lot when I played on console, and she's probably one of my favourite tanks ever. As long as Zarya's not listening to me. But yeah, she's a complete rework. No more shield. They've tried to reduce her shields. No more halt, but she's got a few new defensive abilities. She's still got Fortify. She's got a big spear now that she can launch at somebody, which briefly stuns them. That's quite a bit of damage, and you can see that she also doesn't need to reload anymore. There's a spear that came out. There's quite a bit of damage, so you've got to be careful of it.
I tell you, when that javelin hits you, you feel it in real life. It goes straight through your heart. But that is another very strong fight from the Owls there. I see those May walls becoming very handy again. Mythical Mini doing real work with them. Now we've got quite a few ultimates online for the Owls. Only one, which is that Baptiste window for the Dragons. Could it be enough to do that huge amount of damage? I'm not sure they're going to be able to get through things like the Beat and things like Mace Freeze, but we're about to find out if we go to the next battle.
I like the Ryan change. I like the Ryan being here though, that you kind of push in. You can take the space, but you need to be aggressive. Tank does not mean you just sit there tanking damage. It means you take the damage, but you need to be the front load and take them.
There's another good wall there. But the Immortality Field came out. Really good work there from the Baptiste and the Dragon side, but unfortunately the damage was just too great. But that was a lovely Immortality Field on the other side of the wall that came all the way through to save them. But yeah, again, another team fight won.
Yeah, big impact again from Mythical's Blizzard there. And really, I guess, patience from GCSL's just due to Blizzard, because they've got 4 more ults here. Orissa's ult isn't the best, I will admit that, but it needs a little bit of work.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I
they'll change it a
agree.
little bit.
Yeah, but we do have Landrill 2's May Ultimate coming on, see if they can get as much value as Mythical Mini did. Like you say, Arista's ult, not too much high value, because he can just kind of walk out of it pretty quickly. Wrath of that Railgun Ultimate coming on as well. One shot can take out one person quite easy with that. We're going to have to see what happens as we go in. And Arista going in with that big javelin pin, and the Rhine's blocked off by the wall again. Oh, the Immortality Field comes out to save him. It goes down, and I think he escapes with his life. It's a brilliant Immortality Field there. Oh, finally a pick on Mythical Mini. You have no May anymore, and the Reinhardt is just going in, swinging that huge hammer, getting everyone down. Big hammer. And unfortunately, Gordon gets backed into a corner, and that is probably going to be the point there. There was a big anti-nade on everybody. It wasn't enough. We are going to take the point, and maybe.
Yeah, we hope so. I mean, it was a good push. The ult from Landrilo's May was not maybe as big as GCSL's one, but what it did is it just disrupted them so much at Fox. The Orisa was split from the rest of the team, so they managed to get Mythical's May down, and then Fox was just too far away from the rest of the team. So it was still a good play. And again, they used all the ults, they got all the 3 ults out, so that was a worth fight there from Dragons.
Yeah, and now we're pushing up a little bit. The trick here is big pick from Golden there with that Soldier Railgun. Because here, while it's animating, the cart is animating coming out of the gate there. The good trick is there to just sort of push up and try and take as much space as you can with a few characters. But now we're kind of stuck in this little underground area. Wrath finds Mythical Mini, so there's no more May walls to worry about. Another brilliant Immortality Field there saves Ryan, and the Narrow Bush comes out onto the Reinhardt, keeping him alive even more, and he's going in with that huge hammer, finding a few kills. Tammy is down, your main healer's down, and I think the Landrill Dragons are going to take this point. Sorry, I can't talk, guys, I'm too excited.
Yeah, that's great. Another great fight there. Fox again is still not really finding opportunity to use the Orisa. It's a difficult one to find. Huge slam.
Huge shatter from Motor, charging into 2 of them. That was beautiful. Nice. Absolutely stunning. They've got that. They found the mojo now. I think the Dragons have. It took them a little while to warm up, but they're back now. They're doing it. Taking the odd pod shot there with the Anna. Oh, that's Soldier Railgun is online. Let's see what Ross can do with it. They only have a minute left on this point. If they have a big team fight here, the Owls might be able to hold it. The beast comes out, and here comes the Orisa Ultimate. Will it catch anybody? It didn't get anybody that time. This beast didn't do anything. Like we said, not the best ultimate. That javelin though. Oh, and in the May freeze as well. Motor had nowhere to run. Just a few more to pick off the point. Oh, lovely little sleep.
They're gonna still cap though. Oh, I thought they might. Very close.
Yeah. Okay, I think there's one left on the point. Oh, nice May wall again there. Oh,
very close. That was well played by Raph.
Severely staggered. They're gonna have a really quick group up here. They might not have a full chance to get Raph back, but Soldier is quite a fast character with that slide of his.
Yeah, Ryan needs to be careful here, but that was the spear. Nice.
Lovely little Soldier field there, and another wall keeping them all off the point. Are they going to be able to get through
Need
it?
to touch.
They're not going to be able to touch. Oh
no! Wow, Fox.
Wow. Okay. I think May might be a bit of a good character in this new game.
Yeah, and Fox played that Orisa to perfection there. Really, what I was worried about is Orion charging in early there and getting pinned back, but maybe he should have done that because just to try and get the javelin spin out early so that they could actually touch the point. But just fantastic, just place control there, space control.
Yeah, like I said, Orisa has been sort of making a bit of a comeback on Overwatch League. Like, she wasn't played very much in the early days of Overwatch 2, and we all thought, oh, it's going to be a bit of a dud really, no one's ever going to play her. But now, she is getting some play in the big league, and this is proof why. You know, she's a very viable character when played correctly. You know, like I say, that javelin does a lot of damage, and the javelin spin, great for creating space.
Yeah, I mean, it's, in terms of tankiness, the deflection, I think deflects, I can't remember what percentage, it's not 100% damage, but it deflects a lot of damage and deflects a lot of projectiles.
And you can just
then,
run into people and spin it.
yeah, we can knock people back, increases your move speed by 20%. Javelin spear does quite a bit of damage, but it's more of a knockback, and if you hit a wall, it does a bit more damage, I believe. Early wall there, they might be regretting that.
More of a defensive wall than a useful wall, I think. But with Persevere, I think we've got a Genji from Mythical Mini now. Now, Genji is so much of a good character on Overwatch 2 because there's less of that stun, so you can get away with murder half the time. But they are going to back out a little bit. We're going to change off the Widowmaker, which is probably good. You know, if you can't get an early pick, there's no point continuing with it.
Yeah, Soldier doesn't actually do a massive amount of damage with her standard left click. It's a railgun you have to be very careful about because it does so much damage if you land a headshot. But it's just with the annoying grenades like this. It slows, doesn't do that much damage, but it's more of a slow of a disruption.
Yeah, there's a huge anti-nade on everybody there, I think. I don't think we've got too many people with it. Golden has been taken out, so you don't want to go in 4v5. It's a bit more dangerous now. 6v5 was possible, but 4v5 just seems a little bit more tricky to get past everybody when you lose one team member early on this. So I'd say Motor is going in with that Reinhardt, and we are getting some really good anti-nades there from Landrillo1. Very good to see. Lucio desperately trying to keep everyone alive. Oh, and Golden goes down again.
Yeah, Golden's been playing massive and a big source of GCSL's damage in the last map and in the last round even. Maybe just a little bit out of position because that's 2 or 3 times now that they've caught out at the start of a fight, which just delays the push. You know, we're halfway through the start of a time bank already, near to 2 minutes left, and they haven't really made much progress.
Here's the Nano Blade though. Sure, this is going to be it. We have 2 main healers on the side of Dragons. We've got no Beast, no Transcendence. We've got nothing to really defend ourselves from this. And there you go, 1, 2, straight away. A third, another one, and that was a really good Nano Blade. I think that's what they were building up to, really, just biding their time.
Yeah, if Gihan's in chat, he's going to be loving that clip. A nice 2, and quite a lot of damage to the Ryan there towards the third kill there.
Yeah, just before he went in with that Nano Blade as well, he had a huge deflect, and it seemed to do so much damage to everybody, so much so that they had to throw out the Immortality field early. Oh! Listen to that railgun ramping up, it's so nice to hear. It's like a satisfying fully charged Zarya almost, you know, that sort of noise that you hear. So this is what I was talking about before. Right now you've got one person pushing the payload and you've got everybody else bundling forward, trying to take a huge amount of space, and that's how you've got to play this map.
Yeah, I mean, Dragons did a really good first 2-minute defense on there. They've got the time, but they can't just let Streets phase be a complete free push because 3.5 minutes, you know, the payload's going to be getting around towards that corner within the next 30 to 45 seconds. You don't want to be defending and putting your bits on from. So it's been interrupted by a fat shatter.
That was a fat shatter.
Huge.
Oh, Motor went in to try and finish it off, but unfortunately did get picked off. And Mythical Mini popping off on that. Genji lighting up the kill feed, chasing down the Anna Golden with that railgun, and they probably have one more chance to speed up and try and finish it from touching the end.
Yeah, what a flip round that was. Like, Dragons, that shatter hit 2-3. I think he got 2 kills as well before there was any casualties on the Dragon side, and then Mythical ended up with a 3 to 4k there.
Yeah, pretty huge. Alright, we are going into final fight territory. If Owls win this one, this is map 2 completed, then May right clicks are coming in and doing a whole lot of damage there from Landrillo 2. But is it going to be enough? They've changed to the Arissa now. Oh, and that Javelin doing all the work, because here comes the Genji Blade. He finds 1, he finds 2, he finds 3, and he's going to find 4! Arissa just a little bit too strong to take down, but the rest of the team has got his back, and I think we are going to see the Owls taking this point. It's all over. Map 2 goes to the Owls.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about potential of a tank diff there. I'm definitely not going to be saying DPS diff, but for DPS on both DPS on GCSLs, I mean, Golden gets play of the game again, but I really think that Mythical getting a triple kill twice on with the blades, and then I think this was the dash resets, just dash resets, getting 3 kills in that fight from Mythic. So yeah, fantastic play from both the tanks. Obviously a big grav, but yeah, great plays from a little bit more hopeful from Dragons.
Dragons shining in on their map pick, but still not enough to stop GCS Owls. Susie, we have the GCS Owls one map away from securing a 3-0 victory, and so far they seem to be having the upper hand. What do you think they're doing that just edges out in front of the Dragons?
They're playing Mythical Mini. He's a bit of a beast on that Mei and that Genji. You know, those Mei walls are absolutely on point every time they go out there. They're blocking people in, singling people out. We've got a very seasoned Mei player, and then on the Genji as well. That timing on the Genji blades, it was all perfect. And the fact that Landrill weren't playing any off healers, you know, the Lucio with the beat, and then with the Transcendence, they had nothing to defend it. So he could just have his way with them. Easy peasy.
Yeah, we saw the performance from Mythical Mini right there on that Genji, as Susie mentioned, and that's something that seems to have, you know, the GCS Owls, it's in their pocket and they're using it to great success. But we also talked about, I heard you talk about on broadcast a bit about some of the little missteps that maybe the Dragons are doing, some of them even unexpected, like I think second to last team fight after having a great shatter. We were all surprised. How did they end up losing that team fight?
I think when you have a big play like that, it's just about being careful and consistent about what you're going to be doing next. If you get a big ability or you get a big kill, it doesn't mean you have to completely wipe the team out. Because if you get 2 kills at the start of the fight, they're very unlikely, or it's going to be very unlikely that they can turn the fight 3v5 as it is now. So you just need to back off, and that's it. They can't do anything for the next 15-20 seconds until the rest of their team regroups and respawns. So I think
let's see.
there. Oh, go on.
Thank you, Servitude. Let's see if the GCS Owls can win 3-0 clean sweep on the first victory on the stream as we move on to Landrillo Dragons to speak of Oasis.
Oasis. What do you reckon?
Another map. It's another map that they should all be familiar with. Oh, okay. We're seeing some different characters here. A Sombra from Golden. We've got Soldier 76. We've got Moira. Oh, Diva and a Winston. Interesting picks. Looks like we're going for a more divey comp on both sides here.
Yeah, you got lots of high ground on one side of a point and on top of a point itself. You want to be controlling this elevator because you want to be making sure you have control of this high ground. Interesting Sombra TP. They need to be a little bit careful there. And an early kill onto Raph from Vox.
Yeah, big monkeys diving in there. And Sombra is building up that charge really quickly. Of course, her hack now no longer does what it used to do quite so much. It literally hacks you out of your abilities for a very short amount of time now, but you do take more damage while you're under it. And it looks like we're going to have an Owl's quick take of this point, while the majority of them push up and keep everyone from coming to spawn. 1 or 2 of them are going to take it, and now we have got control.
Yeah, so Sombra's kind of had a little bit of a mini rework some of her abilities again, just to try and stop some of that annoying CC. So hack only lasts 1.75 seconds now, but what it does mean instead is that she does 40% more damage to that hacked target, and they have true sight. So your allied team has true sight against that target, so you can see them through walls and see how much health they've got. EMP is still pretty big ultimate though, so they need to be careful.
Yeah, we did see Golden getting taken down by the fabled Moira Ball. They are still just as annoying now as they ever were. But you know, you can't stop them, they're just getting you. Here we go. Look, they're going to push it now. We do have that Moira Coalescence, but we've got many ultimates on the side of the Owls here. We've got Coalescence there as well. We've nearly got EMP, Mythical Mini, has his Blade, Monkey's Primal Rage, and the beat to just one little Coalescence. So this is going to be an interesting fight, but they've got to try and push in as soon as they can. The healing coming in there from the Moira, and the damage as well. Oh, Box goes down from a little tap from Motor there. Here comes the Diva Bomb. It finds nobody. But oh, the damage Moira can put out, just from using a regular primary fire, is still quite dangerous. And that's why we're losing people left, right, and centre for the dragons. From the owls, sorry, and yeah, they're going to take the flip.
Yeah, no, that was interesting when we didn't invest any more. Yeah, but Cammy Coalescence looked like it was doing a lot of that. But it meant that Vox was kind of sitting on to the left of the doorway, while Cammy was maybe being a little bit too damage focused. Here comes the EMP.
Big EMP, and it looks like it's going to take all the damage. Mythical Mini going in with those reset flash blades. Do all the wonderful there. Hasn't even used his actual Dragon Blade yet, but still so much work chasing the Moira down into the middle, and that's going to be another flip back. We are going to be about 70% to about 34% here. Still plenty of time for more fighting to go on though.
Yeah, Blade v Blade, so Raph versus Mythical. Not sure if it's going to be better to do an early Blade or so that you can react to it, but that window they're going to be back off a little bit now.
Yeah, you've got to back away from the window, it does so much damage. Now the Todd doesn't have his beat anymore, so when this blade comes in it gets, whoa, they're going to have a blade off! And Raph won it! Very nice. Oh, gotta take the point though, we've only got a few seconds left, make sure it gets to us. Oh, Golden is still there with the Sombra, just to try and get a little bit more percent. He's taking it to 99% now, so it is one fight territory, but oh! Genji versus Genji.
That was a very
Blade.
yeah, smart deflect there from Raph. And one of the other small changes that they've made actually as well to these points where it's 99 to 99. If nobody is contesting it when you flip, it actually instantly wins the rounds now rather than having another overtime tick. So Dragons need to be ready for that. If GCSLs take that and cap that, they need to have somebody on the point.
Yeah, it looks like Owls are taking the upper hand again here. Winston damage. Oh, here comes the Diva Bomb. Is anybody going to get caught out by it? No. Lovely jump there from Vox, getting out the way. Mythical Mini's clearing up everybody in the back line. We're getting so much effort here from Moto, but it's just not quite enough as he just gets gunned down by everybody. Oh! And Landros, who just could not get to the point. He got hacked, his legs stopped working, he got punched, and he didn't quite make it.
Yeah, that was a good attempt there from Dragons, but GCSS just came back with more ults, some bigger ults, and Diva is very strong at the moment. She's a great hero. Not really much has changed to her kit other than a slightly buff to her abilities. They're pretty much the same though, but Winston and Zarya are kind of the two big tanks that you can't really defend against, so you've got to be careful against that. And the Motor just got caught out maybe a little bit there.
Yeah, well, we're still sticking with the Diva and the Monkey by the looks of it. Now, we do have a change to one of our Genjis. Mythical Mini's gone to Reaper. Oh no, Vox has decided to go with it. Nope, we're going with Monkey? Yep, we're going with Monkey. Okay. So Vox, Mythical Mini decided to go back to a Reaper rather than a Genji, which is probably like a little bit more effective on that divey character like the Diva. You can get big damage when she comes driving into you. Big damage going up the top. The Moira balls are flying around everywhere. Ultimates are getting piled up really quickly. Moto gets hacked. Lots of damage coming his way. And it's just a huge battle in the corridor here. Big damage coming in from them. Reaper Hellfire Shotgun. The huge nade to save the entire team from Landrolo 1 there. But oh, Golden nearly got caught out of position there. Nearly got picked off. Oh, and we're going to pick Vox goes down just to the sheer amount of damage getting pumped out by Landro 2 on that soldier there. And the Dragons are going to take points.
Yeah, it was very brawly. But if you've got your Diva, I think the Reaper play is interesting because it's going to be quite difficult against a Diva and a Genji to really be able to get the most out of the Hellfire Shotguns there. Obviously, it's going to be a more impactful ult. Other than the Genji and the Diva who won't be able to eat too much, and the lamp that's been nerfed from Baptiste. But I'm guessing there's method in their plan, so we'll see what we come out with Mythicals and Reapers. They need to take this high ground first though. This is going to be the first challenge.
Oh.
The early Diva Bomb.
Oh, Diva Bomb in the corridor. That could have been really bad, but everyone managed to get around the corner for it. I worried for everyone's life there. Cheeky little hack coming out, and now they can see that Soldier does have his ultimate as well. So Dragons have the advantage on ultimates right now. It could pop at any time. Big anti-nade coming in, finding Golden.
Hello,
Oh,
Blade.
and the Wrath has popped off with a Blade again. Where's Wrath gone?
I don't know. Oh, to the grave now.
I saw the Blade go off and he found a couple, but then just kind of disappeared. And then he looks like he got caught. But yeah, the flip has been made. 56% on the clock, not a bad fight.
Yeah, a good first cap from Dragons and a good hold to get up to 56%. They're going to be running into, well, a few painful ults, EMP, Death Blossom,
Ooh!
and areas.
Big EMP followed by, you know, the Death Blossom from Mythical Mini. Finding two, goes down himself, not before the damage is being done. Lovely little combo that anything with EMP is going to set everybody off for a second, and then you can just do what you want with the ultimate. Landrill 2 is still holding that tack visor though.
Yeah, I mean, Dragons actually, towards the end of that fight, actually ended up 3 for 3, so they were actually even. But maybe just a little bit worried because they didn't have any DPS to be able to push into it.
Alright, here we go. Tack visor has been activated, and Box is going to go down. Ooh, everyone else is getting very well protected though. Brilliant work. I think the beat came out there and saved them. So that's what you need. That's why you need those off healers to sort of do those big protection ultimates that they've got. And we are going to have a big roll on the points here. Golden on that Sombra just doing all the damage. Desperate healing coming in from Cammy. But it's not going to be enough for Mythical Money, who goes down to the Baptiste and Diva duo. We are just shutting in with that Landrill 2 on that soldier, doing so much damage. It needs to be checked once in a while. Wrath and Motor finds Cammy and Box again. And we're going to have a retake. Dragon's finally shown a bit of signs of life now.
Yeah, I mean, the Divas has a little bit of boost to their damage. Rocket Booster as well does a bit more damage than it used to before. Golden?
Oh.
It's getting too clipped, has it? Yeah. Raph knowing that the Sombra is probably going to be around. But again, just denies the push, really, for another 10-15 seconds. So, GCS needs to have a good push on this next one. It's going to be difficult to get this grab off. Potentially with a combo with Golden, whether it's going to be a manual hack or try and farm up this EMP, because they only maybe need one fight.
The Genji blade comes in, and oh no, Landrill 1's gone down in the interim. Cammy's being taken out though by that Dragon Blade, only finding one healer down on each side, 2 healers down on the side of the Dragon. Diva Bomb coming in, not finding anybody. Mythical Mini going in with a shotgun, just taking everyone down. Deflecting from Genji, you can't shoot him anything, you get hacked, you can shoot him now. And there's just a huge fight going down on the back of this point here. Yes, the Owls need to take this, this is the only opportunity. Diva DMF, Death Blossom coming out, and that's going to be a flip, but they still have another fight.
Do still have another fight. But they used everything, Dragons did use everything there, whereas they're going to be going up against 4 ults now from GTS. Some people might ask whether Mythical needed to use that ult, but they've got 4 more on that team.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a fight there. We've got that. If Soldier could really pop his tack visor right now and maybe get near the... Oh, the grab got eaten by Motor! You love to see it. Brilliant! 4 lessons coming out, keeping them all back though, keeping them off the point. That's just doing a lot of damage. And one of your main healers has gone down. Rather than Mythical Mini, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. It looks like the side is going blue to the GSC Owls. One last person to pick off. Raph is still kicking around there somewhere. I think he's being hacked. We're just buying our time with him. And he's down. And I think that is going to be
beamed
it.
by Zarya. Yeah, I mean, again, we've seen a bit more life from Dragons in the last couple of rounds.
Definitely.
And yeah, the Dragons capped and held for the first 60%, 50%, and then had a good attack on the fight before that. But yeah, GCS probably a little bit more managed with their ults in the end, even though Dragons seem to be pulling them out a little bit more. But Raph trying to pull, maybe heard what I said about the big Genji blade from Mythical in the last match, because he brought out his own big blade, didn't he?
Yeah.
Big plays all throughout the 3 maps, especially with the Dragons slowly coming into their own, but just a bit too late to show us what their potential fully is as the GCS Owls. Still the same team we've come to know, grow to love over the last few years. This is a team that's making statement after statement. They made the grand finals last year, but they fell short. This season, They're starting off hot with their first game on stream, 3-0 victory against the Dragons, and this is the beginning of what can be a phenomenal season for the GCSL season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think after their defeat in the grand finals last year, that college is out for blood this year. They want it more than ever for it to be taken away at the last second, so they are here, and it looks like they are very well rehearsed, very well practiced. They could be one to definitely watch this year for sure.
Looking at the Landrillo Dragons, Serve, you mentioned a couple times during Map 2 and Map 3 how they seem to have some great ideas and some really good executions. Maybe sometimes just coming into, well, play with those just a bit late, or maybe after they were starting to fall behind. What advice you could give them to improve in the next couple of weeks to have, the season that we know they can have, and that at points they do show they can play at that level?
Yeah, I mean, I can't take away that they did well up against potentially one of the best teams in the league, where they managed to hold their own and win some barely even fights. That first one on that last round there, where they just won the fight flat out at the start of the map. Captain managed to get to 40-50%. I think it's just a little bit about more composure. GCSLs have been in the situation where it might be a very close fight, or they've been in that grand finals position where you've got the stress and the strain and the pressure of the people watching and how far you've come in the championships. But Landrillo maybe not have experienced that quite as much. So, like with the Ryan shatter that we saw on King's Row, it was a big shatter, some big plays from the tanks, but potentially just as a team pushing a little bit and getting carried away in the emotion a little bit too much, rather than just going, look, we've won the fight, just sit back.
Be noted, the performances that did stood out from the Landrillo Dragons were both on King's Row and Oasis, both maps that they ended up picking. Whereas on the first map, I could say they got a bit outclassed. And Susie, do you think that the map rule is something that obviously still early on into the game, but that's something that the Dragons could look on improving as they move on in the season?
Yeah, I think, like I said before, push map is very new to everyone. Like, they might not know exactly where to hold, where to stand, where to push, where to fight, and a lot of people don't right now. I haven't got a clue myself, but it's just a trial and error, practice, scrimming, playing in your comp games, just wandering around, having a look, exploring, and finding those best places to stand and to hold, and But on their two maps that they picked, they did so much better. Those are obviously their comfort choices. Had some brilliant plays on both those maps, so I think they stand a good chance of going far in this competition if they can really knuckle down on those new maps, though.
Yeah, of course. And when a game is so new, everything can change day by day, week by week. And in a few weeks' time, when we will be back after the season resumes after this half term, the Landrillo Dragons could be a completely different team with a completely different playstyle. And that's something so exciting and new about any title across the British esports scene. Mythical Mini. Serve, I think you made the case for them multiple times throughout the series that they stood out. They shone the most, especially on that map too. Are they your MVP for this series?
Oh, that's a big question. I think that the DPS on both teams definitely brought it out. Raf on the Genji really brought that A game later on in the series. I think that what I'm most impressed with about GCSLs is that their flexibility on the DPS roster and their range of heroes. Yes, Souljon and Genji was played quite a lot, but they weren't afraid to bring out the Mei, and how much impact that had on both the push map and on King's Row, and brought out a little bit of Reaper as well in the mix. So I think that it's not just about the kills and how much damage they got, but also the flexibility and that they managed to bring to the team for kind of different playstyles, different impacts, different counters. So yes, I will go for Mini. Difficult.
Susie, Mini or no?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. Like, from that first May wall, I was like, this is somebody who really knows what they're doing here. And they just continued throughout the entire series to just show that they have such a versatility of characters and they know exactly what they're doing on each one. But a big shout out to Vox as well for that tanking, for that Orisa show. It was really good. And of course, on the side of Landrillo, Mota eating that grab right at the end, did some great big Reinhardt shatters as well, very impressive. And of course, Raph won the Genji blade off, so we've got to give him props for that as well.
Well, the GCS Owls are breaking the ice with Overwatch 2, winning their first game, slaying the Dragons. Landrillo Dragons have lost 0-3. As for us, we will be going on a short break, and we will be back with another Overwatch 2 Best of 5.